Hello, everyone. My name's Duncan. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me and see me. So if you could just let me know in the chat whether you can hear me and see me, that'd be great. I'm already thinking I should have brushed my hair. And there's a slight, just to let everyone know, there's a slight delay on the chat. So, okay, there we go. So a few comments coming in. So hello, Alex. Hello, Josh. Hello, Warwick, sorry. Who else have we got? Michael, Chris, Gerald, Andrew, Alan, Rod, Ralph. Hello, everyone. Paul. Okay, so it looks like everyone. Madassa, hello. Melissa, hello. David, Christopher. There's a lot of people here. So, okay, well, we give it a couple more seconds and then we'll get stuck in, shall we? Okay, so yeah, the numbers are ticking up. So it's hello, Alan. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so welcome to the Crypto with Cash live workshop. As you may have guessed already, I am not Cash. My name is Duncan Morland. I'm a writer for Market Prospectors, the company that publishes Cash's Crypto with Cash tipping service. I've worked with Cash on crypto projects since 2017, and he's been my personal go-to guy for everything crypto since back then. Basically, my role tonight is to be the compare, which is basically like a fancy way of saying that I'll be introducing Cash and then pitching him your questions. And Cash, who will be joining us over live video feed in just a moment, will be the one delivering all the crypto knowledge bombs and answering your questions this evening. Before we get stuck in, I just want to make 2 quick points. Number one, this is a live broadcast, as you may have noticed already. So apologies in advance if there are any technical hiccups along the way. If we have any, we'll do our best to sort them out ASAP. And number two, we'll both be reading from a script some of the time, like I am right now, simply because we want to pack in as much valuable information for you as possible without waffling on. That said, we'll also be opening things up to take your unscripted questions later on, and we can have a big chat about Cash's strategy and crypto in general. Right, so let's have a look at what we have in store for you this evening. First up is the main event. During this segment, and let me just start my fancy presentation for you. So first up is the main event. During this segment, Cash will walk you through the 8-factor strategy that gave his members the chance to turn £1,000 into about £67,000. And since we've launched his new service, Crypto with Cash, back in March this year, this strategy has also found 6 distinct opportunities to more than double your money. Actually, it's seven opportunities, because we had another crypto from the portfolio double this week, but we can talk more about that later on. And Cash will be showing you his strategy tonight using a real example taken from the Crypto with Cash portfolio. That means Cash will give you the name of this coin, walk you through the 8 factors that make him believe it has the potential to be his next multi-1,000% gainer, give you his recommended buy up to price, and tell you the best crypto exchanges to buy this coin on. I'd say this is very valuable information. Members of the Crypto with Cash service are happy to pay about £600 per year for, but tonight we're going to give it to you for free. Plus, if you stick around to the end of the workshop, we'll share a link to download Cash's full newsletter write-up for this coin and a cheat sheet for his 8-factor strategy, both for free too. So you'll be able to walk away with those tonight. After Cash has walked you through his strategy, as I say, we'll open up the floor for your questions, which Cash will answer live on air. And you can ask him whatever you like about his strategy or the crypto markets in general. We also collected a few questions from some of you before the event, so I'll be pitching those to Cash as well. Finally, I'll wrap up the workshop by giving all of you the opportunity to join Crypto with Cash. at a special low price we're offering just for a few days to celebrate Black Friday. We're getting all American and doing a special sales for Black Friday. Of course, there's no obligation at all for you to join. You can simply take part in the workshop this evening and then walk away with Kash's strategy and crypto recommendation. That said, we're always looking to welcome new members into the community. So the opportunity will be there for you if you do decide you want to join us. As I say, it will be at a special low price for the next few days. Now, before I hand you over to Kash, and he's waiting in the wings patiently, I just want to spell out the kind of profits that his 8-factor strategy can achieve for people, because to be honest, he's too modest to do that himself, but I don't mind doing it. You see, the strategy you'll learn this evening is the same strategy that Kash used to uncover Binance Coin, aka BNB, back in 2018. You may have heard of BNB. It's the coin of the popular crypto exchange Binance. Well, in October 2018, Kash tipped BNB to members of the newsletter we were running back then at the time, called Cryptocurrency Profits. And on the slide, you can see the newsletter. In Kash's write-up, he referenced the new blockchain Binance was building, saying, "This new blockchain has the potential to propel the exchange higher than it's ever been before. It can open the doors to a whole new world of customers who were previously too wary to use the platform." And fast forward to today, and Binance's blockchain is up and running. It's called the Binance Smart Chain. Some of you may have tried it out yourselves. And there is currently a whopping $25 billion being traded on this blockchain. So Kash was dead on the money with this prediction. And that was reflected in the returns he made for members with this tip. So at the time of Kash's tip, BNB was trading at about $10 per coin. And today it's trading around $600 per coin. And in recent months, it's gone as high as sort of $686. So timed right, that's a 6,759% return on just one of the coins in the portfolio. Or if you were to turn that into, money invested, that would have turned £100 invested into about £6,700, £1,000 invested into £67,000, and you get the idea. £10,000 into a lot of money. Of course, not every tip in the portfolio came off like this one. There were losers as well. It's good to be transparent about that. But overall, the whole portfolio was in the green by a few 100% by the end of the service. So I think that it should be no surprise, really, that Kash recently received a happy email from one of his subscribers from that time period. His name's Mark, and he wrote, "I don't usually write in at all, but I just wanted to let you know that I still have the same crypto recommendations you gave me." In fact, Mark is so confident in Kash's ability to pick winning cryptos, he's joined us on the new service, Crypto with Kash. Of course, Kash doesn't just use his strategy to produce long-term returns, like we've just seen with BNB, where it was tipped back in 2018. Since we launched his new service at the end of March this year, Kash has already helped members lock in some very good short-term profits too. As I mentioned earlier, 7 of Kash's portfolio tips since March have more than doubled in value. And one of them has gone up 700% in the last sort of a month or so, I think. But we can talk about that properly later. But anyway, a lot of the Crypto with Kash members have obviously really loved the returns that they've made. So I'm going to show you a few of those now. For example, Graham was celebrating making a 47% return in a single day. That's gains you don't see in the stock market for an entire year. But that's actually pretty reasonable when it comes to cryptocurrencies and the kind of cryptos that Kash has been tipping. In fact, as well as giving everyone a recommended buy up to price for each coin that Kash tips, he also offers some lower buy order advice that you can set buy orders if the price dips. So basically, you're snapping up a bargain, and this paid off really well on one coin in particular, as it rocketed from sort of tens of dollars when Kash tipped it to hundreds of dollars in a matter of weeks. And this is different to the 700% return I was just talking about. And community member Marco cashed out half of his holding of this coin with a 305% gain on that one. And Graham, who I mentioned earlier, he cleaned up on this one as well, cashing out about 200+%. And he also let some of his positions ride to 285%. And then we have Paul, who summed it up pretty well when he said this was truly unbelievable. What a tip this was. And as I say, there were 7 more cryptos that have doubled in value from the portfolio so far. So really, it's no wonder that Glenda, who is another community member, says Kash sends out his sell alerts with incredible accuracy. Now, don't get me wrong, doubling your money or making 200% or 300%, it might not sound a lot compared to the 6,000% returns we saw earlier. But if you're picking the right coins, these, smaller profits can really grow and grow over the years. And, that's why the coin that Kash is going to introduce you to tonight, it could be the next BNB, in a few years' time. But you could also see some short-term returns like the ones we've just been talking about too. But again, you have to be picking the right coins, which is what tonight is all about. So without further ado, let me introduce Kash to you all, and he can walk you through the coin he's got in store for you and his 8-factor strategy. So Kash, are you there?
Yep, here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Let's just check everybody else can hear you. So could everybody just let me know in the chat whether they can hear Kash? Let me just ask you, how are you doing tonight, Kash?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know if I muddled through that intro, but hopefully
that was great.
Points across to people.
That was all good.
We'll just wait a moment to see if people can hear you. Yeah, it looks like they can.
All good.
So I will vacate and leave you with the floor.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you, Duncan. Hello, everyone. It's great to have you all here. If you haven't guessed yet, my name is Kashaya, but you can call me Kash for short. I won't bang on about my history with crypto, as I know you probably want to get stuck in learning my strategy and get the name of that tasty free tip. What I will say, though, is that I'm not some super social media guru with millions of followers or some ex-Wall Street trader who has suddenly seen the crypto light at the end of the tunnel. I'm a pretty ordinary person that happened to stumble into crypto early doors. In fact, I was lucky enough to buy my first Bitcoin back in 2014 when it was trading at as low as around $300. And I've basically been obsessed with the markets ever since. That said, I take a pretty different approach to investing in crypto than most people out there. I'm sure you've seen the way most people go about choosing which cryptos to invest in. They'll hang off every word of some famous guy who made millions investing with government funding in a completely different market. Or they'll rush to buy the latest meme coin trending on social media because maybe, just maybe, this one will be the ticket to financial freedom. Or they'll become rabid cheerleaders for developers who spend more on marketing initiatives than developing an actual product. I mean, if you need any proof of that getting your name on the side of a bus doesn't guarantee long-term success, just take a look at the recently collapsed football index. For example, shares in Harry Kane went from being worth just £7 to basically nothing overnight. And the company is now in administration and facing court proceedings. Now, don't get me wrong, gurus, social media, and marketing can definitely have an impact on the price of cryptos, but it's usually only in the short term. For example, I'm sure you remember back in May when a single tweet from Elon Musk would rock the crypto markets. For a little while, it seemed like he was the Pied Piper of crypto and the markets would follow him wherever he tweets. But the Elon effect soon wore off as people stopped reacting to his every word. For sure, there's a high noise to signal ratio in these markets, meaning it can be very difficult to determine exactly what's moving prices at any time. But in my experience, there are several specific factors that affect the long-term trajectory of crypto prices more than anything else. If you're familiar with the stock markets, you might have come across something called factor investing before. Since the 1970s, a bunch of very smart academics have been proving that there are 8 specific factors that predict outperformance in stock markets. They are volatility, yield, quality, momentum, value, size, growth, and liquidity. These factors are even proven to outperform world index trackers over the long term, which are what most people will recommend as the holy grail of stock investing on UK personal finance subreddit, for example. Anyway, the important thing for us is that the stock market isn't the only place where a set of specific factors predict outperformance. In my experience, investing in crypto since 2014, there are also 8 factors that consistently tell you whether a crypto has the potential to boom or whether it's just another dud. It's these factors that helped me uncover BNB back in 2018 when I was trading at just $10, and just about all the other successful picks I've recommended over the years, including the 7 cryptos that have more than doubled in value since I tipped them to Crypto with Cash members in recent months. So, what are these 8 factors? From the top, they are the big idea, the team, minimum viable product, or MVP for short, advisors, partnerships, competition, total value locked, or TVL for short, and exchanges. As promised, let's walk through each of these factors with a real example taken from the Crypto with Cash portfolio. The name of this crypto is Sushi, and it's currently trading at around $10, $8, $9, like BNB back in 2018. In fact, I really believe this coin could be the next BNB, trading in the hundreds of dollars over the next months and years to come. And I think you'll agree with me that once you see my 8 factor analysis, so let's get stuck in, and then afterwards I'll share my buy up to price so you know the optimum price overall to buy this coin at. Okay, factor 1, the big idea. This is pretty self-explanatory. For me to even consider investing in a crypto, it has to solve a problem, and the bigger the problem it solves, the better. Equally important is that it actually needs to use blockchain technology to solve this problem. Otherwise, some traditional finance company might as well do the job. So, what is Sushi and what problem is it solving? Sushi is the native coin of the decentralized crypto exchange SushiSwap. You've probably already heard of or even used big crypto exchanges like Coinbase and Binance, where you go to swap your pounds for crypto. These exchanges are centralized, meaning they're owned and controlled by a single entity. They are also mostly not run on blockchain technology. On the other hand, the SushiSwap exchange exists solely on the blockchain. And as you'll see in a moment, the SushiSwap community decided who should govern it. This is what makes the project decentralized. And it solves the big problem centralized crypto exchanges have been facing. Maybe you saw the news about banks like Barclays stopping their UK customers from depositing to Binance exchange. They said that it's to help keep your money safe, but it's hard not to think that traditional banks are starting to get scared of crypto cutting into their profits. But here's the thing, how do you close down a decentralized exchange like SushiSwap? It's not owned by a company you can regulate, and it's not running on thousands of blockchain. It's running on thousands of blockchain nodes spread out all across the world. The answer is you can't. So that's a big tick for SushiSwap for having a big idea to solve a big problem. Better yet, it also solves another problem. The platform started out as a direct copy and paste of the popular decentralized crypto exchange Uniswap. Now, crypto projects copy each other's code a lot of the time. That's what's part of being open source, That's what being open source is all about. But the creator of SushiSwap did something very clever when he copied Uniswap's code. He added extra rewards for yield farmers. Maybe you've heard about the DeFi yield farming craze that's been going on over the last year. People have been generating hundreds, thousands, and even millions of percent on their cryptos. For example, the other day I found a ridiculous 9 million percent yield. Of course, even yields in the tens of thousands bring in huge volumes of traffic because traditional bank interest rates are so low. And SushiSwap has been at the center of this madness, offering yield farmers some of the best rewards in the crypto space. So by my measure, SushiSwap solves 2 problems for the price of 1. Next up in our factor analysis, we have the team. Even though crypto projects are decentralized and not necessarily owned by any one person or group, they're still being developed by people, and it's important to make sure these people are legit. As I mentioned, SushiSwap isn't owned by a company, but there are people behind it, the main one being Sam Bankman-Fried, a well-known figure in the crypto space. Sam runs the centralized crypto exchange FTX, which is the 3rd biggest in the world, trading more than $3 billion every single day. He was put in charge of SushiSwap last year by its original anonymous creator, who is known as Chef Nomi. But instead of running the exchange like some kind of totalitarian overlord, Sam handed the keys to the community by letting them vote in 8 other people to help govern SushiSwap. This was locked in by something called a multi-sig contract, which is where decisions to change SushiSwap have to be signed off by 6 or more of the governing members. So not only does SushiSwap have the backing of billion-dollar Sam, it's also safe from any one vested interest. For me, that's a big green tick for the team section of our factor analysis. Next is factor 3, minimum viable product, or MVP for short. You might have heard of this before. MVP is a phrase used a lot in software development. The basic idea is to take a project from the idea stage to a working product stage as quickly as possible, even if that working product is a little bare bones. That way you can actually have something to test in the real world. This is hugely important when choosing cryptos because there are so many failed projects that take anyone's money and never deliver on their promises. In fact, according to 99bitcoins.com, there are more than 1,600 dead cryptos out there. And I bet a lot of those never even made it out of the hopes and dreams stage. So in my opinion, you just shouldn't touch a crypto project if it doesn't already have an MVP up and running. The good news is for that SushiSwap, it's not just got a minimum viable product, it's got a fully featured product that's been working in the real world for nearly a year now. For example, the platform offers swaps between more than 2,200 crypto pairs, and a whopping 139 billion has been traded on the platform so far. These numbers consistently put SushiSwap at the number 2 stop in rankings of decentralized exchanges on the Ethereum blockchain. So yeah, I'd say that's the MVP factor well and truly ticked. Okay, next up on our factor list, we have advisors. But we've already covered that because Sam Bankman-Fried is SushiSwap main advisor at the moment, and he's a pretty safe pair of hands. So that brings us to factor 5, partnerships. In other words, who is investing in doing business or just endorsing a crypto project? You know what they say, it's not what you know, but who you know that's important. And it's no different in the crypto space as well. So is sushi a popular crypto snack? The answer is yes. Sushi's working with some of the biggest names in the crypto space, but maybe not in the way you might think at first. You see, these aren't the kinds of deals or partnerships you'll find in the traditional business world where 2 companies sit down and hash out a formal contract. Instead, SushiSwap allows you to take yield-generating coins from other platforms, bring them into SushiSwap, and earn extra yield on them. Of course, it goes the other way too. You can take yield-generating sushi coins and earn extra yield on them on other platforms as well. In this way, SushiSwap is partnered with all the big hitters in the DeFi yield farming space. You've probably heard of some of them. For example, there's Yearn Finance, Cream, Aave, Pickle Finance, Acropolis, and Keeper Network. Sushi's good mates with all of them. So this is just another big tick for our analysis, even if it's a bit of an unconventional way. Excuse me. Now, number 6 on our list of factors is competition. It should be pretty self-evident why this is important. Put simply, the right amount of competition can help stimulate healthy growth between crypto projects, while too much competition, or even worse, a monopoly, can leave no room for a new project to grow. I told you earlier that SushiSwap copy and pasted the code of the decentralized exchange Uniswap when it was starting out. So from the off, Uniswap was its main competitor, and it still is to this day. Now, when we compare the daily trading volumes of these 2 exchanges, there's one clear winner. On busy days, Uniswap can swap over 1.6 billion worth of crypto assets, while SushiSwap might only do 500 to 600 million. So Uniswap is a clear winner here, but that doesn't tell the whole story. You see, when we look at a metric called the PS ratio, which takes into account the platform's revenue alongside its market cap, things look very different. Simply put, a high PS ratio can mean a coin is overpriced, whereas a lower PS ratio can mean a coin is more reasonably valued and therefore has a higher ceiling for growth. When we compare SushiSwap and Uniswap, SushiSwap has a PS ratio of 4, whereas Uniswap has a ratio of 10. Remember, lower is better in this case. So this suggests that Sushi at its current price is undervalued, whereas Uniswap, which is currently trading at around $25 per coin, may be overvalued, or at least certainly not as good value as Sushi. This narrative is reinforced when you compare total revenues for the two platforms as well. Despite Uniswap having a market cap 6 times bigger than Sushi, Sushi's revenue is still about a third of Uniswap's. If you get confused by numbers, don't worry. The simple takeaway here is that Sushi again appears to be undervalued. All of this gives Sushi a big tick on the competition for me. Right, we're nearly finished with our factor analysis now, and this next one is a quick one. It's a metric called Total Value Locked, or TVL for short. We've already spoken about yield farming, right? And that's when people lock their cryptos into various platforms to earn interest. Total value locked is simply the measure of how much is locked into a given platform. This tells us how popular a platform is and also how much trust people have in a platform. After all, would you tie your money up in something you didn't have faith in? To cut a short story even shorter, SushiSwap is killing it on this front as well. DeFi Pulse, which is a leading DeFi finance stats website, puts SushiSwap in third place in terms of TVL across the whole Ethereum blockchain. Again, this is with Sushi currently trading at around $8 compared to Uniswap, which is at around $25. So Sushi really does look like a bargain. And that gets it a nice big green tick for the TVL part of this analysis, which brings us to our final factor, which is exchanges. This one is very simple. Simply put, big crypto exchanges like Coinbase and Binance act as a kind of curation service for the entire crypto space. You see, they don't want you to get in trouble with regulators. They don't want to get in trouble with regulators, so they try not to let any dodgy coins onto their platforms. So if they list a coin, it's got to be pretty legit in their eyes. Of course, this is just a guiding light and not a strict rule. You'll always find some crypto wasters sneaking through the back doors. But it's a quick and simple check anyone can make to see how much mainstream appeal a crypto has. And the good news is that SushiSwap is available on Coinbase, Binance, and most big crypto exchanges out there. So there's a nice easy tick for this check too. And there we have it. I've walked you through my 8-factor analysis for Sushi. I hope you can see why I'm excited about the future potential of this coin. In many ways, it reminds me of BNB back in 2018, except being fully decentralized, I'd say it has even more going for it. That's why I say the current price point is a bargain. And my official buy up to price is $25. Remember, if it goes in the way of BNB, it could be trading in the hundreds of dollars over the next few years. That's why me and many Crypto with Cash members are stocking up on this coin while it's still in the single digits. Of course, there are risks you need to keep in mind if you're going to invest in Sushi or any crypto for that matter. The whole crypto market is very volatile, and people always say you really shouldn't invest any money that you can't afford to lose. No one knows for sure what the future holds, especially for such an innovative technology like the blockchain. Yes, it could take over the world, but alternatively, you could all get eaten up by government regulation and disappear. I mean, I don't think that's very likely, but because of the nature of the distributed technology, but it's definitely not impossible. So it's worth keeping in mind. That said, you don't really need to put a lot of money into crypto like Sushi for the potential to make some nice returns. £100 would get you a nice stack. And if we were to see the same multi-thousand% gains that we saw with BNB, you'd be sitting on thousands of pounds in profit. Of course, you can apply this 8-factor strategy to other cryptos as well to do your own analysis. As Duncan mentioned, if you stick around to the end of the workshop, you'll be able to download my full write-up for Sushi, plus a cheat sheet for my 8-factor strategy, both absolutely for free. Right now, though, I'm going to bring Duncan back to the floor and we're going to open up for some questions. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, thank you very much, Kash, for walking everybody through your strategy. I'm sure everybody is probably bursting with questions for you. So if anybody has any questions they'd like Kash to answer, whether it's about his strategy or about the crypto markets in general or about his lovely fleece that he's wearing, then feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them. There is a slight delay on the chat, like I said. So we had a few questions from the survey we put out, so we might as well start with one of those. And the first one of those is, did you have any losses when you first started trading crypto, Kash?
Yes, absolutely. It's very difficult to buy the bottoms, sell the tops, and just bet on winners. There are projects out there that make some grand promises, and it's very easy to, fall prey to all these promises without them materializing into anything. Like in the past, for example, I've invested in projects which I thought at the time made a lot of sense, but it turns out that they didn't even produce a product that works, and to this day they haven't launched a product. So my investments have essentially gone to zero, and there's no point even selling the tokens that I have because they're not worth anything. So I'm just holding on to those forever.
In your crypto wallet and cry.
Yeah.
That was like the ICO craze in 2018. There was so
exactly
many coins that went nowhere. But I mean, that's why you need a strategy like you've just laid out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's take one of the chat questions. Because we want to go through them. So, how long do you have to? So I guess this is Ron asks, how long do you have to sell after a sell alert? So if you send a sell alert out to people in the Crypto with Cash community, how long do they have before they can?
Well, we send out the newsletters every 2 weeks, but sell alerts can come at any time. Once those go out, we also inform. So we send those via email. We also inform everyone in the Telegram group so that they can make a decision as quick as possible, really.
Yeah, and it's to get the best price. Obviously, the quicker you react, the better. But you don't need to be. We're not doing kind of day trading here. It's, it's if you do it on the day or the next day, you're probably going to get a good price on selling. Well, that's what it's been like so far, anyway.
Yeah.
So Dan asks, what are your thoughts on some of these so-called metaverse coins, such as Avalanche or Verge, and maybe throw in your opinions of Mark Zuckerberg as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. Funnily enough, we actually have a few metaverse coins in our portfolio already, and it's actually been doing very well. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually been one of the top performing coins of the week so far. So we actually got into that before Facebook actually rebranded into Meta, implying that they're going to be investing heavily into the metaverse. So the reason we actually picked that is because I've actually been looking into the metaverse for a while now. I've actually got one of those VR headsets myself, and I've been telling everyone about it. I've been telling the group, I've been telling Duncan and everyone else to get one because it's just fascinating. I've always been interested in technology, and after buying this, it's the first time I've ever been like absolutely blown away by a piece of technology. You put it on and you feel like you've been transported into a different world, and seeing how interesting that was, I naturally started looking for crypto projects that are working in the metaverse, and we found some, and luckily they've been doing very well. So my thoughts on that are very positive.
Yeah, I think you have. It's easy to be cynical about a lot of these new things because a lot of it can be gimmicky, but you've had the first-hand experience of using VR and stuff, so it kind of gives you insight into what is actually going to be useful and stuff. I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like when it comes to virtual reality, people have this misconception. They feel like it's. I remember a couple of years ago there were these cardboard or just these cheap glasses that you could slide your phone into. So a lot of people think that VR is that, but now these new ones that have come out, they truly teleport you into a different world. And it might sound crazy with me speaking to you here, but until you try it, then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I think that was a good answer. So Paul asks, he says he's a complete novice. Do you walk us through buying, etc., in your membership? So I'll just point out that you've written a beginner's guide that every new member gets, and then there's also the Crypto with Cash community where everybody's asking us or you mainly questions and stuff. Was there anything you wanted to add to that? I answered that. Sorry.
No, it's absolutely right. So I really like the community that we have now. We all help each other answer questions, help people like set up their wallets, set up exchanges, what exchanges to use. latest news, latest developments. It's really interesting. So yeah, short answer, yes.
Yeah, and some of the community members have been making guides and stuff as well, which is to help each other out. Okay, so I'm just switching to a different tab because the questions are coming up in a different place. So Chris asks, what software or spreadsheet do you use to analyze your investments, if you do use any software? So maybe if we can take those separately, like, so do you use any software that helps you with your crypto analysis?
I don't necessarily use any software. I mostly rely on websites online. So there are, as we mentioned, DeFi Llama, for example, to measure TVL, to see what chains certain coins are working on, to see how much has been invested, how much money has been deposited onto these exchanges. There's loads of different websites that you can use to determine how much potential a project has.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's not necessarily any specific software that we use, but much rather a variety of different sources and websites.
Yeah, I'd say if you're brand new to this, like CoinGecko is very good for general crypto prices, and then DeFi Llama, one that Kash just mentioned, for DeFi projects. Like when Kash was talking about total value locked, DeFi Pulse is another good one.
Yeah.
Crypto's Cash Community. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is from Geraldine, and she asks, "Hi Kash, I think I missed the entering point of the coin and how long you suggest we hold sushi for." Okay, so she's asking what was your buy up to price for sushi and
$25.
Yeah,
$25. Yeah, so buy up to price, I would say for sushi would be around $25. One thing I would say that's very important that we do here is we also set buy orders lower down. So a lot of people get scared, and that is very natural, of course, to get scared and worried when the market tanks, as it did in May, for example. But since we here actually provide buy orders lower down, we actually capitalize and we see these as opportunities to buy lower. So we actually buy lower down our buy-in prices.
We see that in the community, like when there's a dip in the markets, a lot of people are kind of celebrating because they've picked up these coins they have long-term faith in at a discount almost.
Yeah. Because we're not here to do we're not trading service. We're more long-term investments here. So we see these prices being much higher in the long term. Dips are for buying, essentially, if they are solid projects with a good team backing them. If the price goes down maybe 10-20%, then we're ready to buy more to bring down our average prices.
Yeah, and in terms of the length you would hold this investment for, maybe it's a good time to talk about the sell alerts and taking 50% off the table, because they are long-term investments. But like we said, there's 7 of these coins have doubled since March. So like what happens? Could you just explain to people what happens with the sell alert?
Yeah, so when we see that a coin has more than doubled, that gives us the opportunity to take out our initial stake plus some profits and then leave in the rest risk-free. So that means it can continue going up, and even if it crashes to 0, which is very unlikely, you're playing with risk-free money. So you've already taken out your initial stake, and you can just keep riding the profits.
Yeah, so and it's a great way to get some short-term returns and really lock some money in. But then you also get to hold, ride those coins. And like BNB went up, what was it, 6,000% or something over a few years, which is insane.
Yeah.
You only need a couple of those kind of coins. Okay, so the next question is from Adam, and he asks, how many exchanges, crypto exchanges, do we need to sign up for?
Generally speaking, I would say Coinbase, Binance, and FTX are the exchanges that we use the most. I know some members in our group have also started using crypto.com.
Yeah.
But the coins that we recommend here are mainly on those 3 exchanges that I named. So Binance, Coinbase, and FTX.
Yeah, and if you wanted to keep it really simple, and if you are like a brand new, you could and you just wanted to like dip your toes in and buy a few of the larger holdings, you could. Those are most of those are probably on Coinbase, so you could just start with Coinbase, buy a few of the cryptos, get a feel for it, and then expand to the other exchanges if you want to.
And the thing is, one thing I would add is that the benefit of the group chat that we have is that we also discuss different ways of like saving money. For example, some exchanges, there are a lot of withdrawal fees that you can that are applied to transactions and your cryptos. So we try to figure out ways to help users save money. I know that there are some exchanges out there that have less fees and lower fees for certain activities, so we recommend those as well.
Yeah, just give a shout out to Graham again, who's a community member who's put a few like step-by-step mini guides for people to, save money moving crypto around and stuff. And he shares that in the community. Another question from Adam, I think it might be the same Adam. Are the coins in the portfolio for buy and hold?
Yes.
You kind of touched on that a bit.
Yeah, so what we do here is we buy and hold for the long term. And once they more than double, we take our initial plus some profit and then leave the rest risk-free essentially.
Okay, so I'm just looking for more questions. So this is from Webinar Trader, and he says, do you keep your coins on a crypto exchange or store them elsewhere, which is actually quite an important topic, I think.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say that exchanges are definitely safer than they once were, especially from a few years ago.
Yeah.
They, of course, have like industry-grade security in place to help protect your funds. But, of course, anything can happen. So they are still susceptible to hackings. So, and if that does happen, and if you do have your coins on the exchange, then hackers can take your money, and there's essentially no one that can get your money back since it's on the blockchain. If you have a substantial amount of money, then what we would recommend is that you withdraw it from the crypto exchange and store it in a private wallet. Private wallets can be downloaded for free. Or if you want to go a step further, you can purchase a hardware wallet, which is around $50-$60. And those actually require you to physically approve transactions when you're making them. So ultimately, it comes down to whether you have a substantial amount of money to you on the exchange. If it is substantial, then I would recommend withdrawing it. One thing I definitely recommend to all our users is to activate two-factor authentication. This is, you can do this by going onto the settings page and by installing an app on your phone called an Authenticator app by Google. And what that does is when you want to sign in, there's a code that appears every 30 seconds on your phone. You need that code to log in. If you don't have that, then you can't log in. That actually helps protect your account. So say, for example, a hacker gains access to your password somehow, you'll still be protected because they won't have access to the Authenticator code on your phone. And another point I would actually make here is that there's two options when it comes to this. You can actually choose to receive a text message or have an Authenticator app send you the code. We would always recommend that you use the Authenticator app because, again, hackers can gain access to your phone number by basically cloning your SIM card. But these are very sophisticated hacks that do occur, but we just try to protect users by recommending these other methods.
Yeah, and so I was going to say, it sounds complicated, but once you get it's very easy to use. And also, you've written a guide, a guide about risk, which every member gets, which does cover wallet options in there, as well as like the kind of other risks to be aware.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to get onto. So it might sound complicated, and I know that others in the group chat will actually vouch for this. It's complicated at first. It might seem daunting at first, but once you make your first transaction or you buy your first coin, and it's just plain sailing after that.
Yeah. Okay. So Sanjeev says, "I'm sorry, but I missed the beginning of the webinar. Don't worry about it, Sanjeev. I will be sending out a replay so you can watch it. That'll go out tomorrow, I think." He asks, the coin you recommended, Sushi, is there a symbol code for it? Like a crypto ticker, I guess.
Yeah. It's actually very simple, this one. The ticker for Sushi Swap is Sushi. So SUSHI. You can just search this up on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or to view more information.
And another quick one from Madassa. I'm not sure what these are, so maybe you can enlighten me. Will you be recommending any IDOs?
Here's the thing. So we don't recommend IDOs, but we do keep track of them because, of course, some of these actually offer you an opportunity to invest very early on. There have been projects in the past that have come onto my radar, and I've told members to, you know what, keep this on your radar. Have a look into this, tell me what you think, sort of thing. And if it does turn into a project that we can invest in, then absolutely. But we need to make sure that these are already added onto top exchanges, because otherwise there may be some other risks involved that we might not want to be get involved with.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you do use a smaller allocation of your portfolio as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Chris asked, why are coins slightly different prices on different wallets? I'm not sure if he means coins you're holding or coins on crypto exchanges, but maybe...
It's a good question. Sometimes it depends on the exchange that the wallet has partnered with. So, for example, if there's less liquidity, then the prices or on the certain exchanges, there may be different prices quoted. And it may also be the case that the wallet doesn't update prices in real time. So you may have to refresh to get the most up-to-date prices.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask by reading questions, and I can't multitask.
That's all right.
Terry says, I have Coinbase, but I find it very complicated. Any advice?
Well, yes. So when it comes to Coinbase, there are actually two different platforms that you can use with the same login. You have Coinbase and you have Coinbase Pro. With Coinbase, once you sign up, again, I think others in the chat will actually vouch for this. There's a search button that appears at the top of the screen. Once you click there and enter sushi, then you can enter the amount of coins that you'd like to buy, maybe 5, maybe 10, whatever, and you can just confirm payment. Again, once you get through the first steps, then it's plain sailing after that. An alternative that I could recommend is, if you prefer like a video tutorials, there are many that you can find on YouTube. But again, as always, with the Telegram group that we have, we help to answer each other's questions, and Graham's actually created some guides for us that you can follow very easily with screenshots showing you exactly where you need to click, exactly what you need to enter, step-by-step guides, really.
Yeah, I think it does help because it can be overwhelming, this whole space, really. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of change, so it really does help to be able to ask people questions in the community and get a response.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so hopefully that answered your question a bit, Terry. So Adam says, I think he's asking, so can the portfolio coins be stored on Trezor or Ledger wallets, so hardware wallets?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of these coins are in the top 100, for example, they're based on Ethereum. So as long as you have an Ethereum wallet, which you can download in your computer or phone for free, or as you mentioned, Ledger or Trezor. So they can all be stored on your hardware wallets.
Yeah. And Gavin asks, if you lose your Google Authenticator or phone, how would you access your exchange?
That's a very good question. So when you are setting up your Google Authenticator app, the first few steps require you to actually take down this one piece of code, which can actually be used to restore your wallet on a new phone or on any other device. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely recommend that you keep this code very safe, because having access to the code essentially means you have access to the funds.
Yeah. So hide it in a book somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Print it out. Don't store it on your computer. Have it printed out and stored somewhere safe.
We've got a question from Gary. I think I might have missed this in the chat earlier on, so sorry, Gary. He says, I'm not a member, but I'm interested. I invested in Cardano and Xrp in brackets safer coins. Interested in looking at more diverse coins. I missed a tip on Floki, which has been an eye-opener to me as a small investment in summer could have been huge. So I guess he's asking, I don't know if there's a question in there, but maybe sort of how diverse is the portfolio and what kind of parts of the crypto space is it touching?
Yeah, so within the crypto space, there are different niches. So as someone mentioned earlier, there's metaverse coins, there's DeFi coins. What we try to do is we try to diversify the portfolio as much as possible. We try to tap into all of these new narratives that pop up from time to time. And as I mentioned, one of the metaverse projects that we actually tipped a few weeks ago has done very, very well this past few weeks.
Yeah, that's the one that I mentioned that sort of gone up 700% since you tipped it, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got a few more questions. Alex, I think we might have already answered this one. It's about ICOs. Is that the same as IDOs, or did I just...
Yeah, ICOs and IDOs are essentially the same thing. We do look into ICOs. We do keep exciting and up and coming projects on our radar. And if it materializes into something more promising, then we will definitely look to invest as well.
Yeah. And I can answer your question, Peter. Google Authenticator does work on iPhone. I've got an iPhone and it's not Google Authenticator. There's another app that does the same thing, basically. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
There's a few Authenticator apps out there. I think one is by Google. There's one by Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They essentially do the same thing. There's a code that appears on your screen every 30 seconds, and it changes. And you need that code to enter your account, your exchange account.
Yeah. Michael asks, how much have you invested into crypto? How much to date have you cashed out, and how much do you still have invested? I don't know if that's really a question. It's kind of a personal thing, so I don't.
Yeah, I think in the fashion of crypto, I think it's best if we keep that private. But I will say that I do see a lot of potential in crypto, and I do see that even if we do have fluctuations in price, that prices will be much higher in the years to come. So there is potential for you to turn a small amount of money into a significant amount of money. As I think someone else mentioned in the chat, like Floki, for example, or Shiba Inu. I've seen people turn $100 into 180 million, for example. Of course, it happens. These are rare, and there are cases where this doesn't happen, but there is potential for that to happen in this space. And I don't think that's what makes it so exciting. I don't think there's potential for you to turn $100 into 180 million in any other sector.
No, I can't think of one. So
yeah,
selling your organs, I don't know. Andrew asks, having some connection problems. So sorry about that, Andrew, if it's connection problems on our side. He says, please could you confirm you recommended Sushi, and is it available on Coinbase?
Yes, it is available on Coinbase, and it is Sushi, yes.
Okay, yeah. Let me just see. We might have a few more questions. So, question from Adam: for transparency, how many coins or recommendations haven't made a profit in the portfolio?
If I'm not mistaken, I was just checking that earlier today. I think there are 17 coins that we've recommended so far. I think only 4 have not made profit yet. But of course, we also include buy orders lower down. So we also see that as an opportunity to accumulate more. As we mentioned, around 7 have more than doubled. Some have gone 7-8 times higher. So they more than cover any potential losses.
Yeah, and those 4 that have lost money, maybe they're not. You're not saying get rid of those. They're still part of the portfolio because done, the research that you've done into it is still valid. So it's kind of just holding them. And
yeah, absolutely.
In this space, like coins can, especially the smaller coins, can seem kind of dormant and then suddenly kind of explode all at once. So it's kind of right. So it's, let me just see if we've got any more questions. Andy, if you could only invest in one coin for the rest of your life, Cash, what would you choose? That's a great question.
That is a very good
The
question.
British pound?
If I could invest, well, that's a good question. Well, what we've done for our portfolio is that we've selected one coin as a foundation, because I feel like it's also done very well. This is another coin that's actually more than doubled. It was actually one of the first coins that more than doubled for us.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have a large holding of a certain coin, because in the long term, a lot of coins do lose value and then they go back up again. But certain coins, there's a reason. For example, Bitcoin and Ethereum have been the top two coins since forever, basically. So I think it's also good to have those two coins, whatever your portfolio dreams and goals are, essentially.
So your answer to what one coin would you pick is two coins? Bitcoin.
Yes, it will be either Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Andrew asks, are all crypto coins finite in quantity issued like Bitcoin?
No. So of course, Bitcoin has a max supply, and there will only be that number of Bitcoin ever. When it comes to, for example, with Bitcoin, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. There is around 18 million or so in circulation. There are some who say there's less because there have been many that have been burnt or lost, or people who've lost access to their coins. So those are out of the equation. But there are other coins that do not have a max supply. There are new coins generated every year. For example, Dogecoin does not have a max supply. There are more coins, millions of coins created every single year. And yeah, so to answer your question, not every coin has a max supply.
Yeah, So some founders can sort of create new coins. It's all in the area of like tokenomics and stuff, isn't it? So it's kind of
exactly
something that is something you need to look into, really. Okay, so I'm going to try and do a bit more rapid fire questions because we do have limited time this evening. But so Sanjeev asks, if we were to join at this point, I assume we've missed the boat with current recommendations in your portfolio. So is it that we wait for new recommendations? There's one every 2 weeks. And if so, how often do your recommendations come up? Sorry, I just answered half of that.
Yeah, so when coins have gone above the buy up to price, what we would say is dollar cost average. So instead of going all in at those prices, so say, for example, you want to invest £1,000 into crypto, instead of buying £1,000 right now and today, you would set up incremental buys for the next couple of weeks. So £100 this week and £100 next week. And over 10 weeks, you get the average price. And that way you can actually capitalize on potential price drops. That way you can lower down your average buy price.
Yeah. So and again, like it feeds into the fact that we're holding a lot of these over the long term. So like a price can look very high now, but you know, a year from now, that price might look very low, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I had a question. Who's it from? Sorry. Webinar Trader. He asks, any thoughts on Polygon?
Yeah, Polygon is a very decent project. I feel like these projects that are helping Ethereum scale are going to do very well, especially as the narrative for Ethereum scaling comes up again in the next few months. Of course, if you have been using blockchains recently, you will realize just how congested and expensive it can be to use Ethereum. Sometimes sending some coins from one wallet to another can cost upwards of $100. And other times it falls back down to like $10, $15. All these scaling solutions that are coming out, I think, have a lot of potential, and it'll be interesting to see how this specific sector develops over time.
Yeah, I used Polygon a little bit as well for the reasons you say. Like it's much cheaper.
Transaction costs sometimes less than a penny. It's crazy.
Yeah, if the security is supposedly less safe than Ethereum because it's a side chain. That's my technical.
But there are new projects coming out who also offer fast and cheap transactions while also offering the same security as Ethereum. And those are very exciting as well.
Okay, so I'm going to just take a couple more questions. Adam has kind of asked about staking. That's something we talk about a bit in the community group because do you want to? Yeah. So what are your thoughts on staking?
Yeah, so staking I feel like is very important. If a project actually offers staking as an option, in a way it incentivizes users to hold on to their coins because it allows them to generate more revenue on top of the value of the coins that they already have. A lot of the members in our community have actually actively been staking, and there are guides in the chat that show you exactly how to do that. Some of these coins are paying 50-60% APY per year, which is absolutely crazy, and that is just for holding onto your coins. So yeah, we do recommend staking if it is possible.
Yeah, if you're holding on to them, you might as well earn some interest on them. So I've got a couple more coins, a couple more questions. Just your thoughts on a few different things. So, what are your thoughts on XRP and Bsv? I'm going to assume you know what those are.
Bsv, if I'm not mistaken, is a hard fork of Bitcoin. I believe Craig Wright claims ownership of the Bsv project. He, as I understand it, he claims to be the true creator of Bitcoin. Of course, that's up for debate. I'm not here to decide whether or not that is true. Personally, I prefer the Bitcoin BTC over Bsv, and the charts I think would reflect that other people in the market also feel that way as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for the Q&A section. We've got a few questions about the service and number of portfolio coins and things like that, and that's what I'm going to talk about next for a few minutes. So I just want to say on behalf of everyone, thank you for taking the time to lay out your strategy this evening, Kash, and answer
good
questions.
Happy to help.
And now I'm going to make you disappear, or you're going to make yourself disappear.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Right. Let me see. So just fiddle around with this 1 second. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took part in the Q&A this evening. There were some really great questions in there, and I hope we helped you with them. And mainly Kash, wasn't it? So now, as promised, we're going to drop 2 free goodies into the chat for you in just a moment. The first is Kash's full write-up for sushi. So you have a record of the research he walked you through this evening, plus the recommended buy up to price, which was $25. The second is a cheat sheet for Kash's 8-factor crypto trading strategy, which you can use as like a quick reference to analyze just about anything in the crypto market that you're interested in investing in. So remember, applying this strategy can be the difference between picking a coin like BNB that went up 6,700 odd %, or a coin that just falls flat on its face. So I think you'll probably want to make sure you grab both of these freebies in a moment. Now, while we sort that stuff out, the downloads behind the scene, I just want to let you know that even though sushi is a very, very good pick for your portfolio, it's actually not the coin with the most profit potential in the Crypto with Cash portfolio. There are 8-factor coins in there that are even cheaper than sushi, are even earlier in their development, so less people know about them. And if they fulfill their promises over the long term, they could make 6,700% gains look small. For example, while most people are looking at Cardano, Polkadot, or Matic, also known as Polygon, which came up in the Q&A, as the coins that could overthrow Ethereum, one of Kash's crypto picks is already faster and cheaper than all of them. For example, when Ethereum's network is busy, transactions can cost as much as $300. Yet transactions on this crypto's network cost just a fraction of a cent, which is actually cheaper than Polygon. And that's without waiting for some of the complicated layer 2 solutions to be developed for Ethereum. This crypto also has the fastest growing ecosystem out there, with 250 odd projects already being built on top of it since it launched last year. And better yet, it could soon become cross-chain compatible. That means developers will be able to basically copy and paste their projects from Ethereum straight into this project's ecosystem. So it could see a huge influx of cross-pollination money in the near future. And if it really is one of Ethereum's main competitors, the recent rocket ship gains we've seen in this crypto ship already could just be the beginning over the long term. At the very least, I think you'll definitely want to read Kash's full write-up to find out more about this coin. The second coin I just want to talk about is Kash's Ghost DeFi crypto pick. This crypto isn't tied to one crypto network like most decentralized finance projects. Instead, it taps into all of them to let its customers swap cryptos at super low fees cross-chain. That means it benefits from the success of just about every crypto network out there, including Ethereum, including Binance Smart Chain, and a lot of other networks. And whilst it does that, it's still bulletproof if one of them was to fail, as it always has one of the other networks to keep trading on. That's why it's already racked up nearly 100 million in trading volume. And but you can still pick up this coin for around $1 when I checked earlier today. And now the third coin I just want to tell you about from the portfolio. It's one of my personal favorites, and I won't say too much about it because I don't want to give it away, but just know that it's a project being run by a guy many people say is crypto's answer to Amazon's Jeff Bezos. This creator's previous project was just valued in the tens of billions of dollars, and Kash expects their new coin to be as big, if not even bigger. And right now, it's still trading in the low dollars, which is the perfect time to buy it, really, a bargain. So I hope you can see how the Crypto with Kash portfolio is packed with a huge amount of value. But we actually want to increase the value factor even more. You see, tonight we want to give you the chance to join the service at a special low price we're offering for a few days to celebrate the sales holiday, Black Friday. The truth is, even at full price, we're still offering more value at a lower price than any of our competitors. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let me run you through what's included in Crypto with Kash membership, and you can decide for yourself. So first up, as you might have guessed, you get access to the full Crypto with Kash portfolio, including Sushi, which Kash talked about tonight. That's 17 coins Kash believes have huge upside potential. And there's another coin coming out this week that Kash is writing about, I think. So for each of these picks, you get Kash's full 8-factor analysis write-up, his recommended buy-up to price, lower buy order prices, as Kash mentioned, so you can snap up a quick bargain if the price dips, and a portfolio allocation percentage, so you know just how much of each coin to stock up on. There's also a shared spreadsheet where we keep track of the official portfolio numbers. You can copy this for your own use or just refer to it whenever you want to get a quick overview of the full portfolio, as we always update it when a new pick goes out. And actually, one of our members, who's a bit of a whiz with spreadsheets, has even made a version of the spreadsheet which pulls in live market data. So if you want a flash spreadsheet to track, you've got that too. Speaking of portfolio picks, Kash will deliver you a brand new crypto pick every 2 weeks. We found this is the perfect time frame to slowly build up a long-term portfolio of crypto big hitters. To be clear, we're not day trading here, as we talked about in the Q&A. Our members prefer a more relaxed buy and hold approach to crypto investing. So the bi-weekly newsletter is perfect for that. In each newsletter, Kash talks you through the impact of recent news on the crypto markets, and then gets stuck into the down and dirty 8-factor analysis of his latest tip. As I mentioned moments ago, this includes the name of the coin and its ticker symbol, so you can find it on exchanges, his full research and reasoning for the recommendation, a portfolio allocation percentage, his recommended buy up to price, and some lower buy order levels to take advantage of any dips, as we discussed. And when it comes to selling portfolio picks, as we discussed in the Q&A, sell alerts are sent out in email form separately as and when they're needed. This is so we can take advantage of any short-term market action to bank some extra gains. Like the seven kind of coins that have doubled in the portfolio that we've mentioned a few times this evening. And if you remember, that's what prompted Glenda to say, Kash sends out sell alerts with incredible accuracy. Now, while Kash's crypto picks are obviously the main draw of the service, there is a very close runner-up, in my opinion, and that's the Crypto with Kash community. You see, we run, as we've kind of hinted at, I guess, or talked about in the Q&A, we run a private Telegram chat group where members are invited to chat with each other and Kash, and I'm there too. There's 3 main things that go on in the community chat generally. Number 1 is we celebrate winners, like when Marco bagged a quick, like when Marco bagged a quick 10% gain while sleeping, or that 305% gain he bagged that I mentioned at the start of the workshop. Or another thing that has been shared in the group is when the whole group celebrated gains of 9%, 22%, 19%, 12%, all these mini gains in about 24 hours. The second thing that happens in the community group is we help each other out. And we alluded to this in the Q&A as well. Like when I helped Glenda move crypto from an exchange to her crypto wallet, or when Marco helped Sam pick the best crypto exchange for the situation he was in, or when Graham, who we've mentioned a few times this evening, straight up wrote those amazing guides for everyone, one of which helped people earn 57% interest on some of their cryptos. Let me just switch the slides. So speaking of Graham, on top of the 200 and 300% gains I showed you that Graham made, which I showed you at the start of the workshop, he also made 58%, 42%, and 104% in just 5 days, buying and selling some of Kash's picks. And also, he shared today that on the most recent coin that has gone up in value, he had made something like 800%, 700%. It was just crazy numbers, but I wish I'd put a screenshot in here. Of course, we also have lots of fun, and this is the third thing that we do a lot of in the Crypto with Kash community group, is we have a lot of fun just chin wagging about all the stuff that's going on in the crypto world. And whether it's serious news about banks limiting deposits and what you can do about that, or if it's just a bit of banter at Elon Musk's expense, we're just having general chit chat and fun, because after all, that's what this is about at the end of the day, making money and having fun while doing it. So as you can see, the Crypto with Kash community is a really big part of the service. After all, crypto is a new and exciting world, but it's also big and messy and confusing at times. So what better way to navigate the choppy crypto waves than with a crew of like-minded people at your side? As Glenda says, she finds it very reassuring to keep reading positive news and keep buying steadily alongside everybody else. And talking about getting help with your crypto adventure, don't worry if you're brand new to the game either. As well as having the community to back you up, Kash has put together 2 super accessible guides to help you get started. The first is his beginner's guide, which we mentioned in the Q&A, which unsurprisingly does what it says on the cover. it gives you a good introduction to the crypto space and DeFi cryptos in particular. DeFi stands for Decentralized Finance. Inside this guide, Kash walks you through the current state of crypto in 2021, an introduction to DeFi cryptos in general, his full 8-factor crypto strategy, and a step-by-step guide to buying cryptos on Coinbase. The second guide you'll receive as a member of Crypto with Kash is called Risky Crypto, and I bet you can guess what that does. This guide covers everything you need to know about crypto wallets, risks, and scams. Inside, you'll discover a breakdown of the 4 crypto wallet options and the pros and cons of each, guidelines for avoiding scams like fake cryptos, phishing, pumps and dumps, and social engineering, and advice on how to survive market volatility, secretly centralized cryptos, and other pitfalls of crypto technology. As I say, if you're new to the space, these guides and the community will have you up and running in no time at all. So, to summarize, Crypto with Kash membership gets you Kash's current 17 coin portfolio and his write-up for each of those coins, a hot new crypto pick every 2 weeks, and the next one is coming this week, I think. Email sell alerts as and when they're needed, access to the private Telegram community, and 2 guides, one to introduce you to the world of crypto and one to help you survive it. So how much money will this all set you back? Now, you might be thinking an arm and a leg and then another arm and a leg, because I'd say with the kind of returns that Kash has been generating, like the tip on BNB, which turned £100 into £6,000, £1,000 into £67,000, or £10,000 into 600 odd thousand pounds. It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but that is the percentage returns that BNB delivered, which Kash tipped in 2018, plus the 7 coins that have doubled since the service launched in March. And so you might be thinking the service costs a lot, and we're talking getting access to a portfolio still packed, I think, with cryptos poised to repeat similar gains and potentially do even better, plus a new tip delivered to your inbox every week. But I personally think that the usual price of Crypto with Kash membership is a bit of a bargain at just £199.97 per quarter, and especially with the annual deal we offer, which is £599.97, which saves you £199.91 on the quarterly price, and is great for getting in the investment rather than day trading mindset that Kash promotes, having that annual membership and being in it for the long haul. If you go for the annual membership, we even bump the usual 30-day money-back guarantee that comes with quarterly membership up to a 60-day money-back guarantee. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of this workshop, you don't need to pay either of those prices to join the Crypto with Kash community today. You see, until midnight on Monday, so next Monday, we're getting all American, as I mentioned, and running a special Black Friday deal. And we're knocking 33% off the price of quarterly membership and 35% off the price of annual membership. So instead of paying £199.97 for quarterly membership, you can pay just £129.97, which is a saving of £70. And instead of paying £599.97 for annual membership, you can pay just £399.97, which is a saving of £200 on annual membership. That gives you access to everything I've already outlined, plus 6 or 24 new issues of Kash's newsletter, depending on whether you pick quarterly or annual membership, with each write-up containing a new recommendation. When you think about it, the profits of just one of Kash's picks could easily cover a whole year's subscription cost and more, as you've seen with some of the examples we've shown tonight. So I'd say the value here really does outweigh the upfront cost. If that sounds good to you, you can go ahead and secure your membership by clicking on the link that I'm about to add just below the webinar right now. So let me just do that for anybody that knows they want to join. So if you would like to join the community, you should see the offer below my ugly mug here, and you can click through and join us. As soon as you do, you'll receive a welcome email with instructions on how to access everything we've promised you tonight. Of course, it's up to you what you choose to do this evening. You can pick quarterly or annual membership, or you can just simply choose to go it alone in the world of crypto and not take us up on either offer at all. That's totally fine, obviously. But both me and Kash would love to have you on board as part of the Crypto with Kash community. And remember, the Black Friday discount is only running until midnight on Monday. It's also worth noting that you'll get the discount rate, that Black Friday discount rate, locked in for as long as you stay subscribed. It's not sort of limited for 1 year or anything. So you'll get that rate for life if you like. As I say, you can go ahead and secure your membership by clicking on the link that's below this window that you can see me in right now. As soon as you do, you receive a welcome email with instructions on how to access everything we've promised you tonight. Of course, there's one more thing we need to talk about. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about it. We promised you Kash's full write-up on sushi and a cheat sheet for his 8-factor strategy to download for free. So I'm going to add links to download both those things to the chat right now. So let me do that, and you should be able to download them. So they should be in the chat for you to download right now. And don't worry if you don't get around to downloading them this evening. We're going to email you a replay of this event tomorrow, which you can watch at your own pace. And I'll make sure the 2 freebies are available to download in that email too. And I think we're also going to send you a quick email after the event with links, because we promised you this free stuff. So we want to make sure you get it, and as a thank you for attending tonight. For now, I'm going to reopen the chat, and you can ask any questions you may have left over about Crypto with Kash membership, and I'll do my best to answer them. And remember, there's a slight delay in the chat, so I'll just give you a few minutes if you want to get if you have any questions you'd like me to answer. So thank you to everyone that said thank you in the chat. I really do hope it's been useful for you this evening. And I'll just hang around for 5 or so minutes and answer any questions you guys have. Okay, so Melissa just joined, so welcome up. Welcome in, even. Madassa, welcome. Good to have you guys on board. I'll just give it a few more minutes because there is a slight lag on the chat, so I don't want to miss anyone's questions. There we go, okay. So Ron asks, if I join before midnight Monday, but not tonight, how do I do it? So if you just look out for an email from us over the next few days, Ron, then you'll be able to join there. So, you know, there's no... we don't want you to feel pressured into joining. Okay, so you know, Monday's a few days away, so if you don't want to join tonight, that's perfectly fine. Just have a think about it, and we'll be in touch via email over the next few days. Christopher says thanks for a good evening. So thank you for attending, Chris. I hope it's been useful. Alan says he's learned a lot, so I'm glad it was useful for you, Alan. Michael asks, are all 17 cryptos that have been recommended still being followed, or have any been sold? So They're all still being recommended. There's been sell alerts on, I think, what do we say? On about 6 of them, I think. So that means when a sell alert goes out, Kash recommends you sell half of your holdings. So not the whole thing, because these are long-term investments. So it's basically to take a bit of money off the table. So they are all 17 cryptos are still open to buy as recommendations. Some of them Kash will recommend dollar cost averaging into or waiting for a bit of a dip in the market. Others are at the right price to do so. And remember, you're always getting another recommendation every 2 weeks. And Kash recommends a portfolio allocation percentage to help you fit it into your crypto portfolio. Let's see if we've got any more questions. Anthony says, thank you. I look forward to watching it through again tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get the replay to you tomorrow. No worries about the caps locks there. Webinar Trader says, thanks very much. Really enjoyed the webinar. So Alan says, a new coin every 2 weeks sounds like you would end up with quite a few coins. Do you ever completely sell a coin? Yeah, that eventually, yeah, you will be completely selling a coin. I guess we've been running the service since March and that hasn't happened yet. The allocation percentages, which I just talked about, like the allocations are small, they are in the 5 to 10% for each crypto. So that gives a lot of room to be growing a portfolio, and it gives you a lot of space to fit quite a lot of coins in, especially when you take into account if you're selling 50% of a holding, it frees up more room for, to put money into the other coins or the new newsletter recommendations. But yeah, ultimately, eventually we will be selling whole positions to free up room in the portfolio. I hope that answered your question all right. So Madassa asks, what is the minimum amount invested in each coin? Really, that's a personal thing. Like, because the way crypto works, you can invest very little into each. You can start with like £100 because you can buy fractions of cryptos. So really, there's no sort of minimum if you just want to give it a go. Obviously, you need to take into account the cost of the service and that kind of thing. But in terms of, we're not giving you a specific amount. We're not recommending a specific amount. It's more for you to decide yourself. But do know that you can invest very little and sort of get started that way, and then raise the amount you're investing the more confident you get if you want to, or if there's a certain coin that you want to focus on. I'm going to go through these last questions quite quickly because I think the software we're using to run the workshop may cut out in a few minutes. So yeah, Michael asked, to cover the cost of subscription, what would be a reasonable amount to invest annually or per coin? I mean, when you've got coins doing 700%, if you've got, £100 in a coin and it does 700%, that's a huge return and could quite easily cover the annual cost of the service, or 2 years if you're doing it with a discount. So very little. You don't need to be investing £1,000 in each coin or anything like that. Like, you could be doing like £100 or less and still cover the cost of service and more. We're talking when some of these cryptos are going up like 500, 600, 700%, or just doubling, and you've got a lot of those doing that. Maybe if you want to send us an email, maybe I can answer that in more depth for you. Sort of lay out some of the numbers if you want me to. Nigel says, thanks for attending, Nigel. So Andrew, the sushi swap is trading at £6. We were talking in dollars. So sushi is probably trading around $8, and his recommended buy up to price for sushi is $25, not pounds. Like, generally, even though we're in the UK, people talk about crypto in terms of dollars because that's what the exchange, most of the sites list it in. So the buy up to price is $25, not pounds. Oh, well done. Josh, our expert moderator, has answered that already. Okay, so that might be it, and I think we might be running out of time. So I just want to thank everybody again for attending, and if you do want to join the Crypto with Cash community, we'd love to have you on board. But if not, then I hope this evening was useful for you, and do grab the freebies when we send them to you. Okay, and thank you again, and take care.